children are asleep, so I must be on my way.
I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, here today, guys, to review the new Heidecker and Wood album, Starting From Nowhere. Heidecker and Wood. Well, I know I got into Heidecker from Tim and Eric Awesome Show, because really, how can you not like Tim and Eric Awesome Show if you don't?
A lot of people don't.
You know, that's a good point. A lot
We
of people
do. We're
do
huge
not like
fans,
it.
so
we're
we're eager to listen to this.
Most of you who watch VIMTV are Anthony Fantano fans. He's a huge Tim and Eric fan too, and so he gets a lot of love from music critics, I think, because it's headier comedy. It's very visually intense. A lot of video editing and a lot of and interesting music involved with a lot of Tim and Eric skits. So now that Heidecker, you know, Tim Heidecker, and his friend Wood, who I don't know Wood's first name.
I don't remember.
Okay,
I feel like you did.
sorry about that. But they made this album Starting From Nowhere, which is supposed to emulate sounds from the 70s. A lot of different styles that were going on in the 70s. Yacht rock.
Late 70s Doobie Brothers, Hall & Oates kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, what they're trying to do is a lot like what Ween has made a career off of, specifically starting with Chocolate and Cheese, which we reviewed not too long ago. And you know, I think that this sound where they're emulating a different style or time period and trying to make it kind of satirical, kind of funny at the same time, but yet kind of insightful where you can pull stuff away from it and it's still a good tune. That's all been done before. And really, I'll get back to that in a minute. That's one of my biggest criticisms of this album. But that is the sound that they're going for, is that mid-70s kind of different styles, and they're also applying it to just the Ween. We're going to make a kind of funny emulation album. Tom, what do you think about Starting From Nowhere?
Yeah, it definitely caught me by surprise. Right. I was not expecting this kind of sound. I was expecting something more goofy, more laugh-out-loud funny. Now, I really try as much as I can to not let my expectations or predispositions influence my opinion of this album. And I really don't think I did. I think the thing is that the sound they were going for, they focused so heavily on that sound that we described, that it doesn't really get out of that bubble. So it ends up being kind of a lot of the same mood, a lot of the same genre. Also, just a lot of these songs, for what they are, go on longer than they need to. They already accomplish what little they're going to accomplish. But really, also, you have to think about what started this. I mean, this is Tim Heidecker and Mr. Wood making
Phantom Wood.
Yeah, making you know, he makes the music for their show, and this whole album I believe started with the song Weatherman, track 7, and they were like, you know what, let's do some more of this just for fun. So it's not like they were trying to make the next Sgt. Pepper or something, guys.
Absolutely not. Context.
They were just having some fun. They're two friends who do this anyways, and we're like, why not make an album out of it? So there, right away, you know it's not going to be incredibly good, but also these are talented individuals. Now, the production and the songwriting from an instrumental standpoint, I believe, nails the sound they were going for.
I agree.
These guys know how to encapsulate that mood. With Mr. Heidecker, it's a little different because, you know, we're all used to his persona on television if you've watched the show. And it really did feel like a lot of the skits they do without the visuals. Like, you could take any one of these songs and imagine a kind of strange, dry, but at the same time outlandish kind of Tim and Eric skit going along with it, but it's just without that element. And really what it does more than anything is make you realize how important the visuals are.
Well, because in Tim and Eric Awesome Show, great job, you know, you have these visuals where it'll like zoom in and be and take sounds and play them really loudly and stretch it out and zoom in on somebody's face really close and make it just awkward as hell and just pound this idea into you so much that it just makes you laugh because it's so outrageous. And that would be accompanying music like this.
Exactly. Like, you take the opener, Cross Country Skiing, which is honestly a gorgeous song.
It's really good.
It's a very good song. Starts right off and you're like, wow, this sounds pretty serious. But yet at the same time, you can close your eyes and imagine Tim Heidecker with some skis on in front of a green screen, and then, you know, like a bat with lasers comes out of nowhere. You know, some random Tim and Eric stuff
Cut
that they would
to the
do.
next scene.
Yeah, exactly.
And not go on for 4 or 5 minutes like all of these tracks do.
11 times in a row. So you get that. Also, regarding Tim's vocals, I think he has a good voice, but he's not a great singer. And I think that's a distinction a lot of people don't understand, and I will explain it. What it means is, you know, a lot of people just naturally have good singing voices, But there's more to being a singer than that. You have to know how to enunciate. You have to know how to project, and even breathing techniques properly. And maybe he does know some of that, but I feel like there were a lot of moments on this album where, while he showed that he has a good voice, he didn't show that he had control over that goodness in his voice. I'll even cite, well, I think this was one of the better tracks, track 2, Right or Wrong. Sounds a lot like something off White Pepper.
Right.
The chorus, he's just kind of like, but you better be right or wrong, you know, like, and it sounds okay, but he doesn't really get the oomph in there. He doesn't really sell it. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. So I'm not going to hold that against him too much. It's just something I wanted to point out.
One major point that I alluded to earlier, that gripe that I have, and I like this album. I thought that they did nail the song. I thought that the style, they did good. But the thing is that this has all been done before. And all the styles they're emulating, that's all been done before. And in the idea that you could make a satirical song that kind of has goofy or even just lyrics that just are frivolous and kind of meant to be fun, and then hark back to another, everything that they're doing has been done before. So what are they bringing to the table? And really that lack of originality, I think, hurts any band that's not, any artist out there who's making music that's not original in 2011. It's a problem, and you're gonna suffer. You're gonna get worse scores from critics like us, because that's one thing I'm gonna harp on. It's something that I'm looking for in an album, and a good album. It's gonna be original music that makes me go, wow, they're bringing something new to the table. This isn't it.
And it's still pretty good for what it is. You know, if this sounds like something that would interest you, go listen to it. But you gotta understand that we're listening to a lot of new music that is striving to do so much, and naturally these guys were just trying to have a good time, and that's fine, but we've got to grade this compared to the rest of the people who are working a little harder.
And because it was made so casually, I feel like some tracks are clearly better than others. Yeah. And that kind of takes away from the album, straight through album listen, which is what one thing at VIMTV we're very adamant about. We view every album or listen to every album and a straight through album listen and grade it on that. And I feel like just because some of the tracks are skippable, you know, depending on who you are as a person and which songs you related to, I just don't think that kind of works towards that album concept thing. This is a great novel idea and fun to visit once or twice, but other than that, I don't think that this is really something worth coming back to, at least for me anyways. I'm going 59.
I'll meet you there, 59.
Yeah, and so it's right on the cusp of there's just a little too much wrong with this to really call it a good album. Something that if you're interested and especially aware of Tim and Eric Awesome Show, or like Ween's music or any of that kind of emulation, throwback sound for satire, definitely check it out and tell us what you think. Other than that, there's probably other albums out there we could direct you to this year that you would like probably better than this. Let us know what you thought of Heidecker and Wood starting from nowhere, because they were kind of starting from nowhere on this one. Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Also, please follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Very important to us that we have this venue of communication open between the two of us so we can talk about music, because that's what Tom and I do literally all day long. I'm probably going to get fired someday for doing it. It's just the way it is. That's life, and that's what being a music critic's all about. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.